Hello and welcome once again to Loud Online Video Edition. My name is Brian. I'm the editor of Loud Online, and you can find us on the web at loudmag.com.au. Last edition, we talked about the resurgence of live music in Australia, and that's a great thing not just for gig picks like myself and the bands, but also everyone who makes a living out of the live music industry in Australia. We're talking techies, we're talking venue bookers, venue staff, everyone who make some kind of money from the live music industry. And I guess the biggest news this week is the return of international touring with My Chemical Romance announcing some shows for March next year. Those tickets for that go on sale today, May 27th. It'll be their first tour in 10 years, so tickets for that will probably fly out the door. By the time I'm finished talking today, there may well be none left. We talked about Spring Loaded last time, and that continues from June the 19th in Brisbane. The exciting news on the festival front for this edition is the announcement of Blacken Open Air. And if you ever needed a reason to spend 3 nights in the middle of the desert, in the middle of winter in Australia, then the Blacken Open Air has certainly given you one. This year it's being headlined by Thy Art Is Murder, Psychroptic, Amyl and the Sniffers, and if that isn't enough, there's about another 15 or 16 bands that have so far been announced. Clowns, Low, Claim the Throne, Witch Skull, Ruins. They're just a handful of the acts that are appearing on that bill. So packages are available that include cheap flights for that, and you probably will want to fly there. It's not a place that you should drive unless you've done it before. So it's probably a good idea if you are thinking of doing that, check out the cheap flight packages that are available for Blacken Open Air. After the cancellation last year and some controversy earlier in the year regarding the arts program for the 2021 festival, the Sonic Youth is coming out to do some exclusive performances, and also which is made up of the rhythm section from Sleep. Hymns of the Dead event this year has made way for what they're calling Screams from the Abyss, and that will see the return of Aussie death metal legends Misery playing that night, as well as an exclusive performance by The Amenta, as well as Pod People, Alter Defecation, now there's a band name, and Growth. So that is only part of the Dark Mofo program. It runs for a week in the middle of winter. Again, in Hobart, and if you've ever wanted to swim naked in the Derwent River on the winter solstice, then you can go ahead and do that as well if you like. The Aussie Made Tour kicks off tonight, May 27th in Adelaide. That's made up of The Poor, Dead City Ruins, Palace of the King, and the Black Cardinals. They're also playing Perth and Brisbane this weekend, and then they make a run to Sydney, Canberra, and Melbourne next weekend. Justice for the Damned tour also kicks off tomorrow. That's with Antagonist AD and Born Free. A lot of those shows are already sold out on that particular tour. And if you weren't aware already, Parkway Drive's Viva the Underdogs tour has actually been cancelled because of COVID restrictions, and also because the American support bands weren't able to come out and tour with them. So that's a bit of a shame, because they've put that tour back twice now, and they finally had to cancel it. The bands that have announced tours this week were Psychroptic, that will take them to Blacken, as I mentioned before, and King Parrot have announced a 10th anniversary tour that'll take them around the country. One of the shows they're playing is a massive show at the Mansfield Tavern in Brisbane on October the 23rd. It's the annual Hysteria Halloween event, and this year it's headlined by Spiderbait, plus Mammal and King Parrot are going to be there. There's 35 or so bands going to be appearing at that, including Gravemind, Fangs, Flaming Wreckage, From Crisis to Collapse, Harlot, and a couple of dozen more, really. So look out for that. Tickets go on sale for that today as well. So that's going to be a big one to add to the calendar. And we mentioned Amyl and the Sniffers before, doing Blacken. Again, that word, Blacken. They're also doing a residency in June at the Croxton in Melbourne. I think the first show of that is already sold out, and good news for Sniffers fans is that their new album should be out in September. Time to look at some new music now, and the first thing we're going to look at this week is the album by Dr. Colossus. They call themselves a Simpsons-themed doom rock band. Basically, they just play big, grooving, heavy rock, and their lyrics are just Simpsons quotes. It's really funny, it's really well done, it's extremely catchy. I've been listening to this album over and over again, can't stop listening to it. There's amazing songs on there. Some classic 70s rock pastiches, some really good stoner rock grooves, and a lot of fun to be had on this album. It's called I'm a Stupid Moron, an ugly face and a big butt, and my butt smells and I like to kiss my own butt. And it's out now, and there's a couple of clips up on YouTube for Pickabar and also Lard Lad, which is sensational, by the way. And they're doing some East Coast shows in June. You can check them out at drcolossustheband.com and buy their album there too. You won't regret it. The thing to look out for next month is the self-titled album by Go Ahead and Die. This is the new project from the Cavalera family, featuring Max Cavalera and his son Igor Cavalera. And they're doing some pretty intense crust punk and thrash metal on that album. It's very heavy, it's quite brutal, and it's as intense as what you'd expect coming from that particular stable of artists. So look out for that next month. There's a couple of tracks out there now. I think Roadkill has just been released as a video on YouTube as well, so you maybe want to check that out too. The Screaming Jets were one of the last of Australia's big pub rock bands to break before the movement sort of faded away into the mid-90s, and their album All For One was released 30 years ago this year. It went to number 2 on the charts, and to celebrate the anniversary of that album, the band has decided to quote Dave Gleason, take a leaf out of the Angels book, and they've re-recorded the whole album with the original producer Steve James. It's coming out in June or July, I think. And for those who love the original album, don't completely write it off. Some of the songs are very different. Some of them have just been beefed up a little bit. There's a few slightly different arrangements to some of the tracks. Come On's got a couple of guitar solos in there. Better sounds very different. Not sure what my opinion on that one is yet. It's like trying to repaint the Mona Lisa to me, but a lot of the songs on there are just as good, if not maybe even a little bit better than the original version. So look out for that very soon. That's the new album from the Screaming Jets, and they have new music on the way as well. So look out for that. They'll be on tour. Of course, they had a tour again that was abandoned last year as well. They'll be back on the road very, very soon too. So that's our edition for however long it is until I do the next one. I hope that I haven't bored you too much, and I'll see you next time. Thank you.